Well, Kelsey Harkness is from the Independent Women's Forum and joins me now live also from Washington. Kelsey, let's talk a little bit about this record number of women being elected to Congress. What do you think has led to this, and do you think it will make a difference going forward?
Well, certainly I expect these women to make a difference, and I think many of them, we know most of them, the majority, are Democrats. So personally, as a conservative, I don't agree with them on policy. But certainly as a woman, I'm encouraged to see any women step up and run for Congress. I hope to see more of this come from the right. I think they walk into a very difficult situation with a government shutdown. I think Democrats face a lot of challenges ahead of them between some of the more younger members who are very far left, very progressive, pushing for policies that would be harmful to American families, and some of those more moderate Democrats who want the Democrats to reach across the aisle and work for President Trump and perhaps see all the gains that women specifically have made thanks to many of the policies that President Trump has pushed forward, including these tax cuts, including deregulation, and women's unemployment has been at record lows, and all women are doing quite well.
It's interesting that you say that because most commentators we speak to say that the reason that the Democrats have gotten so many women now into the House is in a reaction to Donald Trump, to he himself, but also to his policies.
I think you're right in part. I think there's more women in Congress in the left right now in a reaction to President Trump's personality. I think there's a lot of women who have problems with some of his rhetoric, some of the things he said. But I think when you actually look at the policies that President Trump has put forward and you actually have conversations with women about those policies and how they've impacted their families, I think you'll see that women are able to bridge a divide and have a conversation and maybe perhaps meet somewhere in the middle.
If that is the case, why don't we see more Republican women now in the House?
Well, again, I think many of these Democrat women who are new members in Congress decided to run because of a backlash to President Trump's personality. We saw the Women's March. Millions of women took to the streets just days after President Trump became president. Now, 2 years later, we see the Women's March is falling apart. And the reality is that's because women don't necessarily agree on everything. There's not one certain policy that's good for all women because all women think for themselves. We're all different. We all have different ideas of what's going to benefit our families. And so I think when we try to play this game of identity politics and say that one policy is good for women just because of our body parts, it doesn't make sense, and it actually can end up hurting many women.
Oh, it's interesting. What you're talking about is actually intersectional feminism, bringing everybody on board a movement. Just finally, though, what do you think that all of this tells us about gender discrimination in the US?
I think in the United States, women are the luckiest, most free women in the entire world, and I don't think any of us should take that for granted. I think what women face here are injustices, and those shouldn't be confused or conflated with inequalities. Women around the world face so many inequalities, but in the United States, women have equality before the law. We have any opportunity at our fingertips that we want to go after. Certainly, we will face injustices, and as women, I think it's great when we can band together, unite our voice, and speak out against that. Me Too movement is a perfect example of that, where you do see women like myself who are on the conservative side wanting to be a part of this conversation and wanting to be a part of the solution. But women in the United States we are very lucky to live in this great country, and we have an opportunity really to speak up for women around the world.
Okay, sadly, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. That is Kelsey Harkness from the Independent Women's Forum.